try and ask you some sensible questions, but not always guaranteed. Why the hell are you?
Okay, you're live now.
Why am I not? What's going on here? Why have you stolen my spot, Surinder? What's going on? This is not good. Right, TPP, we should be live. I don't know why Surinder's nicked my spot. Let me make sure we're live on YouTube. It's not working.
We are.
We're live on both, are we?
Yep.
And if we're not, it's all your fault. Right.
Okay.
Right, let me see if I can, what have I done wrong again this time? Right, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, and maybe good morning when you're watching this. So, welcome to the weekly Property Professional Show. A really good one for you, as always, but even better today. Got a super speaker, but you'll have to wait. I'm going to get my 50p's ready. And this chap's been on before. So actually, we couldn't find anybody else, so we bring him. No, he's really good. That's why we've got him back. I'm just mucking around with you. This is my good friend Akil. We brought him back. His presentation was so interesting. Comes up with some interesting stuff. I'm even going to give him a stack of my 50p so he can share his power. He can share his slides. I know. It's amazing what I do for you guys. All these 50p's I keep spending. Right, Akil, now I know what you're going to ask me. Let me make sure I press the right goddamn buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, blaspheming, swearing, not allowed, but, Right, I put the right buttons in. I'm just entering the 50p's as we speak. So,
can you share my screen now?
You might be able to screen share if I put enough 50p's in. So, have a go.
Okay.
Go
Appreciate
for it.
Thank you, Dil, as usual, and Surinder. And Ashley, I'm looking forward to your presentation as well. So nice to meet you, Zoomily. That's a word.
Listen.
Yeah.
Don't spoil the secret yet. Come on.
No, I'm looking forward to it. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Akil Mir. I'm the owner of Our Mortgage Broker. We're an independent mortgage brokerage. We're a team of 8 brokers. We predominantly cover the whole of England and Wales. So whether you are a first-time buyer, a portfolio landlord, or a commercial investor, we've got the experience and the know-how to broker any mortgage and protection deals. So whether you're a first-time buyer, portfolio landlord, or a commercial investor, we hope that we can be of support to you. What I'm going to do is just share my screen with you. I'll just share this with you. Can everyone?
Yep, we can see
that screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect, great. So as I said, the company name is Our Mortgage Broker. It says what it says on the tin. We are a whole of market and we're an independent brokerage. We are directly authorized by the FCA. So on the first screen here is the company name, the company logo. For those of you that are tech friendly and of millennials, you might see a QR code on the bottom right. Feel free to take a picture of that QR code. That will take us directly to our lead source, and that will be a conversation where you complete the fact find or the initial inquiry form. We will then arrange a call with you to go through your mortgage and all protection needs. For those of you that are, a bit more old school, you can also contact us on the telephone number, email, and or visit our website for more information about ourselves as a company and our services that we provide. So, as I do each and every week, I provide a marketing update around where the market stands as we stand. So the housing market has been very, very buoyant throughout 2021. We've seen various incentives that have been thrown at us by the UK government, which is great news for people that wanted to get on the housing ladder or move home. We have seen a house price increase, which has been shared by Nationwide. So we've seen an increase of 0.7 in October and an annual growth of just shy of 10% for the latest year, which is phenomenal. So we're near the double-digit growth for UK housing, which is nice to see. The activity did spike for a third time in September, and that was mainly because of the stamp duty. First-time buyers have regained a competitive advantage with the stamp duty ending. So for those investors that wanted to scale and buy further properties, because of the stamp duty holiday ending, it now allows first-time buyers to potentially come back into the market and not having to pay over the odds. There's lots of speculation about whether the Bank of England are going to increase the base rate. Who knows when it's going to happen, but it's clear to say that increase is very much in the near future. My personal opinion is we'll see a rate increase in either January or February of next year. I think there will be small increments. The stock market has certainly put that into place, and a lot of predominantly the US stock market has factored in a rate increase across the whole world, I would say, as well. So be mindful that we are going to be seeing an increase in the Bank of England base rate. And what that means to your mortgages is this: if you are on a standard variable rate, you will see your mortgage payments increase on the subsequent months if you do see a rate increase. For those of you that have got a mortgage coming up or have got a portfolio of properties, I would certainly look at when your mortgages are coming up for renewal. So if you've got mortgages that are coming up in 2022, i.e. in the next 12 months, now's a good time to start speaking to brokerages like ourselves. And what we'll do is it's a fee-free consultation. We'll review your current portfolio. We will ensure that you're on the best terms, and/or we'll ensure that you move on to the best terms that suit your property goals. So please do bear that in mind. The budget that was announced by Rishi Sunak, to be honest with you, there wasn't much negative news for the housing market. I think more of that news will come out as we come to the end of the stamp duty, as we come to the end of furlough and the business interruption scheme, so the CBILS predominantly. So there is usually a lag in the system. So I think we'll see that coming into fruition from January, February. Hence my speculation or my view or my forecast that we'll see a rate increase in January or February of 2022. And lastly there, the average UK rent increased by 1.3%. Now, I think UK rents will predominantly spike and go back up to where they were, if not go higher, because what you will see, a lot of people returning back to offices. And for those people that exited the London market because their employer asked them to work from home, I think what you'll see, and a lot of talk that we're seeing in the market, is a lot of people are moving back to predominantly their headquarters in and around London. So I think UK housing market, predominantly the capital, will certainly see an upward trend for that very reason, like it was negative first, but I think, as we all know, the capital always goes back up first. So I think you'll see a lot of UK renters going back into that market, and an increase in the UK rental market, especially in London or Greater London. So I like to add this comment in, and Dill's a big fan of this one. This is the EPC rating. For those of you that don't know, this is the energy performance certificate that your property, this is your investment properties, need to have. So currently, if you own a investment property, i.e. a buy-to-let investment, you must have an EPC rating, which is E to A currently. However, from the beginning of 2025, all new rented properties will be required to have a certification between C to A. So if you own buy-to-let investments, all new rented properties must be at least a C, or if not a B or an A. For all existing tenancies, you've got up to 2028 to convert, change, make the modifications to bring the EPC rating to a C, to at least a C rating. So this is potentially another ticking time bomb. And as a mortgage broker, as an investor, I am keen to share this with the investor market, because 2025 is only round the corner. Don't take it for granted. Ensure that you've got the relevant energy performance light bulbs. Make sure you've got the right boilers, the right windows, and so on. So help yourself and make sure that you get the ratings in place prior to 2025, if not 2028. Worst case is you just simply won't get a buy-to-let mortgage. So that's the worst case. Another reason why you should another reason why people use a mortgage broker is we take care of your mortgages, your issues, your solutions. And as we're an independent brokerage, you're not tied to any certain lenders. So we've got access to the whole of the market, and our job is to find you the most competitive lenders. And I say this to all my clients: we work for our clients, we don't work for the lenders. Often we get to ask, when should I prepare for a mortgage? What do I need? So if you're looking to purchase a new home or your first home or move home, the key is speaking to an independent brokerage that understands the mortgage market. As I said, is independent and has access to the entire market. And what that does is it gives you confidence that you're getting the best rates and not just getting a set of rates from one lender on the high street, for example. Simple but basic admin is as follows. As a brokerage and as a lender, we'll need the following documents. We need a valid passport. We're going to need a valid driving license. So if you've moved home recently, make sure it's got your current home address on there. The lender and a broker like ourselves will need, if you're employed, your latest 3 months pay slips and your latest year's P60. We'll also need your latest 3 months personal bank statements to reflect the income that you received in your pay slips. For those of you that are self-employed, we'll need your latest 3 years tax calculations and the corresponding tax overviews. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's fine. Just send that one line, take a picture. If you're looking to apply for a mortgage in the next 3 months, take a picture of that line, send it to your accountant, and he or she will be able to share those documents with you. And if it is a purchase, we're going to need an audit of the funds. So we will need a bank statement to reflect the proof of deposit. That's just general admin that we will need to apply for any type of mortgage. So as we do it each and every week, we share with you the current mortgage rates. Good news is there hasn't been much change whatsoever. So if any of you that are watching me again or listening to me from last week, the rates are exactly the same as they were last week. So top to bottom, we've got HMO buy-to-let rates in a limited company. They're very, very competitive. A lot of people are moving into HMOs over the last few years. So rates start at 2.89 with a 2-year fixed product with a loan to value of 75%. For those of you that are looking to buy your first buy-to-let or your next buy-to-let, personal name rates start at 1.14. Again, 2-year fixed at 75% loan to value. Those of you that are seasoned investors, portfolio landlords, or high rate taxpayers that may want to purchase properties in a corporate structure, i.e. a limited company, rates are typically starting from 2.59. Again, at 2-year fixed at 75% loan to value. So as you can see, the rates are phenomenally competitive, they're phenomenally low, and they're very, very attractive for that reason. The next section there is your main residence. So this is your principal home. So if you're looking to purchase your next home or your first home at 90% loan to value, i.e. with only a 10% deposit, rates start from 1.34, which is a tracker rate, which tracks the Bank of England base rate. For those of you that have got more equity or a higher deposit, i.e. a 60% loan to value mortgage or want to mortgage at 60%, rates are starting below 1%. It's phenomenal, but 0.84 likewise, which is a tracker product. So, you know, as you can see from this slide here, rates are extremely competitive. There's plenty of money in the market and lenders are willing to lend. So do get in touch with us. As I said, if you've got mortgages that are coming up for renewal in 2022, do contact us. Let us look at your portfolio of properties. Let us review your current home mortgage. There are no charges. There are no fees. If anything, we'll just give you the reassurance that you're on the right rate and you're doing the right thing. My last slide here is, as I said, we've got the contact details here once again. So please do take a picture. Do get in contact up with us. We're open 7 days a week. We do work for you and we don't work for the lender. I want to leave you guys with one quote. And I'm going to be doing this on a weekly basis. So the quote here is, you don't wait to buy property, you buy property and wait. So if you can digest that, it's all about the long term. You can't time the bottom of the market. And I speak to a lot of clients that are trying to time the bottom of the market. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how you can use any metrics to do so. It's a long-term game, but if you've got the right power team around you, ensuring that you've got the right advice, you'll always be a successful property entrepreneur. But that's enough from me. I hope that's been useful. If anybody's got any questions, as I said, reach out to me on telephone, email, and or on social media, and we'd be delightful to support you guys. Thanks, Dil.
Akil, a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
So I love the quote. Thank you very much. So that's added extra value. Brilliant idea. Am I right in thinking that you want to start your mortgage thinking of at least 6 months before you're looking to buy? Or agree more.
Yeah, I totally agree. The sooner the better, to be honest, because it all starts with the mortgage. There's no point in going to view properties unless you know how much you're looking to borrow or the bank's anticipating to lend you. So first and foremost, speak to the mortgage broker, understanding the level of borrowing that you could be considered for. Then speak to the estate agents, explain to them who your mortgage broker is, show them proof of deposit, and then start viewing properties in and around that valuation that we're providing with a mortgage.
Fantastic. And as I'm getting my money's worth, am I right in thinking you're not even, so before I ask that question, when are you going on the Bank of England committee to affect the...
No, I'm totally having fun as a mortgage broker. We're enjoying ourselves. I have no aspirations of joining that boardroom meeting, but
you're going to turn that request down then?
I will certainly turn the request down, yes. And they probably won't give me the time off to join your Thursday 5 p.m. call. So that's another reason why not.
You're going to make the sacrifice. And one last question. Am I right in thinking you won't even charge them 50p to ask them to review your mortgage, ask you to review their mortgage portfolio?
No, we certainly won't. At the end of the day, we're here to build relationships with our clients. And what we want to do is making sure that they're in the right deals, they've got the right mortgages. And as I said, at the very least, just to reassure them that they are on the right mortgage. So we've got a strong team of mortgage brokers that are fully qualified CMAP qualified brokers. And again, we're not just an average mortgage brokerage. We work with a strong power team around with us. So likewise, we work with Dill, who's our party wall surveyor that we often refer to our clients that are looking to develop properties and build properties. Again, if you're listening to this or watching this, and you're looking to become a seasoned investor, grow your portfolios, please surround yourselves with the right people, the right accountants, the right tax advisors, the right planning consultants, surveyors, and more importantly, the mortgage broker, because that's where it all starts from. And usually that's where the biggest cost is around the mortgages and property finance. So, we're only a phone call away.
Starts with the man with the money. Thank you, Akhil. Look, I know you've got to disappear. You took time out to be here with us.
A pleasure.
Brilliant. Thank you for your words of wisdom. So we look forward to seeing you next week. More of your interesting quotes. I think that's a fantastic idea. Loving it.
Thank you so much. All the best, guys. Nice meeting you again. Bye-bye.
Brilliant. Right. Now, back to the show. So, as we love bringing you value, I think he's nicked my screen. Hopefully I'll go back on. Right. Well, we thought, what can we do to bring you value? Now, we bought you the guy with the money. And if anybody knows anything about houses and building them and so forth, you'll know this old adage. It's all about the stuff that shines. It's either the kitchen or the bathroom, right? We're working on the kitchen designer, but we had this chap on a few months ago now, and we've really struggled to get him back on because he's so busy, so good with what he does. And I'm going to give you, look, just between me and you, he's designed some bathrooms to do with the royal family. I'm not going to say any more. I know he does. His design skills are amazing. He's going to talk to us, I believe, about building new and custom houses. I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm really, we're really privileged to have Ashley here. Ashley, I'm going to put, as your presentation was so impressive last time we had you on, I'm going to put all the 50Bs in the meter for you and let you share your slides. So over to you, mate. And I'm really looking forward to your presentation.
Right, well, my name is Ashley Broughton. I work for an architecture practice called Agora Architects. We specialise in getting planning permission and working with projects where it may not necessarily be straightforward. So a lot of architecture practices will potentially turn down jobs because it may be too stressful, they don't have the expertise to deliver it. So we normally take on projects where we think you can get permission, and we will do risk shares on projects, and we know the tricks of how you can get things through where you wouldn't necessarily get them through. So that's going to lead on to something that's being pushed quite hard at the moment, which is customer self-build housing. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about, which hopefully works first time. You see all that okay? Hopefully you've got a slideshow.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, Ashley. I might have to give you a gold star for that. Well done.
Yeah, look at that. It works first time. Right. So Custom and self-build houses. There's a lot of confusion about what actually is a custom self-build house. A lot of people think that that is someone who just wants to build their own house and it doesn't work for developers. It's not actually the case. You can do a self-build site of 160 houses. It's not a problem. It's just understanding what it is that makes it a self-build. So what is a self-build? A self-build is anything where an end user can have a say on what the building may look or be like. So that can range from them designing the entire house themselves, which is what a lot of people imagine, down to a few internal options. I mean, you could go as far as say even offering kitchen options could be classed as a self-build. As long as there is an element that they can control themselves, it's fine. Now, the beauty of, well, I'll get into the planning side a little bit more in a moment. But the rules are about to change quite heavily. So there's a paper that's been issued to the Prime Minister about 2-3 weeks ago. And this is basically changing the rules in where you can build self-build. So what they're trying to do is relax the rules quite heavily so that you can build self-build houses where you wouldn't get a normal plan application through. You can also now rent them, which is fairly new. So you can now build a self-build house, rent it out to a client, and that still counts. Before they had to own it, now you can rent them out as well. So planning permission wise, as long as you list it as a self-build house at the start, that increases your chances of getting planned quite a lot. Now, from what I've read in the review that the Prime Minister is doing, which is called the Bacon Review, they're looking to basically change the rules so that you can get planning permission not anywhere, but pretty much anywhere you wouldn't normally get a house. So someone's back garden where you've been refused in the past for a house, if that was to go through as a self-build, you could potentially now get it through. And so it really is opening the door that for sort of back garden development and infill development where normally you wouldn't get it. So places like the countryside where houses are typically worth a lot more, you do tend to struggle to get houses through because they don't want it. They want them in city centres, towns, and stuff like that. This now allows you to pit big one-off houses in the middle of the countryside under this new term, which is the revised self-build policies. So this is the main element of this Bacon Review that is going to make the big impact, which is to give substantial weight to these self-build policies rather than just them having a little bit of weight. In the past, you used to be able to list it as a self-build and they would go, oh, okay, that's really nice, but it's still in the middle of nowhere and we're not going to let it go through. That's changing. So now you will be able, they will have to give that good weight. They can't just refuse it, which is obviously really good for everyone who wants to build something nice and shiny. So I'm just going to give you a few example ones we've done recently, self-build. I'm not sure how these videos are going to work, but we're going to give it a go. So this self-built house, it was actually a small bungalow the client had bought in a high value area. The bungalow was worth very, very little. Went in for permission to demolish and build what is close to a small mansion, essentially. Let's give this little video a go, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. Hopefully that plays on your screen. And when we do plan applications, we try and sell the quality of the design, which will help. Self-build, there is a requirement that self-build properties have to be reasonably high quality. Doesn't mean they have to be expensive and crazy like this house. This is just an example of what they could be like. I'll let this video finish before I move on. Hopefully is this video playing for you guys? Okay.
Yeah, actually, magic. It's taking up a lot of my 50p, but video is fantastic.
Cool, right.
Don't worry, I'll put the extra 50p's in for you.
Yeah, you keep paying,
Welcome back, everyone. This will be the direct sequel of the video.
It's moved on to another video in the background. Let's give it that. Right, there we go. Okay. Just out of curiosity, so this is the size of a house you can get through on a self-build. So normally, when you go through to planning, they will try and restrict your size. They don't want to see ridiculously oversized properties in the countryside, but under a self-build, you can. So this house, for example, has got both an indoor-outdoor swimming pool, a spa, home cinema, the lot. This is actually going to be an Airbnb. So even though it's going under a self-build, it's actually going to be leased out as an Airbnb. So he's getting a very good return. I can't share the return, but it is a very good return that he's getting on this Airbnb. Here's another example. I'm not going to play the videos for all of them, but if anyone wants to have a look at the videos, they're online. So this is a similar one. This is a self-build. Now this is a merger of two clauses that help. So this is partially a Class Q. So a Class Q is when you have a dilapidated building or a barn in the countryside. You can request that that barn becomes a house under a Class Q application, which is permitted development. So it's not planning permission. So it's very hard for them to say no. Providing you tick the boxes, you can do it. It's not enough, they can't say no. You can then sacrifice your Class Q for a self-build and build whatever you like, which is a brilliant little sort of sideway through planning. But normally you would never get this through, but because it's a Class Q and a self-build, you can. And again, floor plans, if anyone is interested, we can sort of give you an idea of the scale of this dwelling. So this is around about 700 square meter home. So it's a fairly substantial home. And another example, the slightly smaller one. This is actually an infill dwelling, but it's still a self-build, so therefore can be built sort of any way you like. Like I say, slightly smaller, but still very, very nice. A lot of you are probably thinking, okay, well, what about more traditional housing? Sort of, if you're not into building the big one-off housing, can I do a few of these sort of in a more traditional manner? So yes, you can. They don't have to be big one-off housing. It does help, but it doesn't exclusively have to be a luxury home, as long as the standard of architecture is quite high. So these are a cluster of 3 self-built houses. Glass, very different to a standard brick house. They're fairly cost effective to build. In this particular case, we actually registered these as a self-build, got permission, and then withdrew the clause for them to be a self-build, and they let that happen. So you can remove the self-build clause if you really want to. It takes a bit more time. This came down to more the lender wanted the clause removing rather than the builder. The builder was fine with it, but you can remove it if that's a problem. Same development, just a different plot. And you, like I said before, these can be applied to big schemes. So it's not just 1, 2, 3 houses. This is a cluster of 12 self-built houses we're doing. Fairly traditional, nothing crazy. I mean, there's 4 house types. There are repeats on the site. And again, that is on this particular one, because we give them an option on the roof color, that's still classed as a self-build. Even though it's such a minor element, it does count. So yeah, you really can find ways through this. And like I say, under normal situations, this wouldn't get plan permission. So this little clause does help fight your way through. Site plan, just to give you an idea of what the 12 would look like. Again, this one is a development of 12. These are sort of high-end properties. There are 12 very similar properties, so it's still a development. We have 28 on site, but only 12 of these are the high-value ones. The other ones aren't classed as self-built. This is sort of a mixed development, just to give you an idea. So this Bacon review, which I would highly recommend you give a read, because it's going to come into effect quite soon. And it's all online. I can share that with you. The principle behind it is they want to see up to 51% of housing in the next 10 years become self-built. So they really are going to put a lot of weight behind this. So much so that John Lewis have actually started a housing development company. So John Lewis are going to be joining the bandwagon, and have pitched that they're going to be building up to 10,000 homes in the near future. And I believe they will be self-built along that sort of pattern. A little bit of information about me if you really care, and our contact details. And yes, if you've got any sort of questions on how this could help your particular project, please fire away.
Actually, I've got some questions.
Fire for it.
I think Surinder might have some questions as well. No, fascinating. I'm a little bit almost speechless that you've let the cat out of the bag almost. But so for the folks that are listening, and especially the ones on YouTube, like, share, and pass this one on, because this is a piece of nugget that I think both me and Surinder have sort of missed completely. we have a lot of planning guests on the show. Just to re-emphasize, go on.
So I'm quite fortunate. So the guy that wrote this, which is MP Bacon, he is actually our MP. I literally live about 10 minutes down the road from him. So that's quite helpful. I've managed, I mean, I've literally got it in front of me. But that's how I've managed to find out so quickly. So it will become more public knowledge soon. I suspect it may come in and then get adapted quite quickly so that it limits the size of housing. At the moment, there's no limit about how big you can build a house. I suspect that will change.
Yeah.
Maybe in 6 to 12 months, they'll say, well, okay, 3 to 4 bed house max. At the moment, I'm seeing houses of 30 bedrooms plus that are still going through on this setup. I mean, we're talking hotel size houses going through, and they're just classing them as, you know, HMOs or hotel. I mean, you can hotel if you wish to, but there is no limit. As big as you like is fine. Wow,
I think you've just dropped a literally bombshell on us, but that's amazing. When does this law is in place now, or is it coming into place?
So it's not, well, it's with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister has signed it off.
As long as he hasn't lost it in Peppa Pig world, you know.
Yeah, as long as he don't lose it. I've got the paper copy, so I'm all right. I can give it back to him. I mean, they've published it, so it's in effect. It's just the planning departments have to catch up, but they will be catching up. I mean, they're under review now, so that should come out in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Hopefully, that should all be through as normal. But even though it's not out with the planners at the moment, providing that it's in your design statement and justified, they should have to honour it. So you don't necessarily have to wait as long as you've got the argument there ready to go. I mean, I've already got it on confirmation that this MP will back your plan application. Regardless of where you are, he will give you support. So you'll have MP support straight away.
Brilliant. Great. So the man to know is you're the man to know because you're the man with the contact, I'm guessing.
He's the man who knows the man who can do it.
You're the man, right? So it's not about what you know; it's about who you know as well. And we've got them all here on the show. So, am I right? Just to confirm, it's, as you can tell, I'm almost lost for words. That's quite rare for me. just to confirm, it's not just one house you're talking about. You can have a whole estate being built and still. What was the number you're going? What was the upper number?
Well, there is no upper limit. The biggest one that I know of that's been done at the moment, I believe, is over in Liverpool, and that was 160.
Wow, and they all call them self-builds because there's one detail you can change in them: roof color, kitchen, bathroom, whatever.
Yeah, so on them particular ones, they've said that you can split one bedroom into two. It doesn't affect the house price. It's either you get a big bedroom or you get two. But that is classed as a self-build because you're changing the fabric, you're changing what the building is. Ultimately, it's a stud wall. It costs nothing as a developer to put the thing in.
Don't tell them that. I mean, you know, it costs a fortune to add a wall.
It costs a fortune to take a wall down. Not to
definitely. It could cost you quite a lot of money to take a wall down. Actually, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah. And am I right in thinking with all things planning, planners may not be aware, so you may have to bring it to their attention and say, no, you're wrong on this. And secondly, when planners don't like it, they try and sort of cut the law down and bring in stuff like Article 4 and get rid of it.
The planners, I mean, it does depend on what plan you get. I mean, if it's over 12 houses or 10 houses, I believe it is, you have to have a senior planner. So that's set by the government. So you'll get an experienced planner, which is brilliant. If you're under 10, you get a junior, and these tend not to know the policies very well. So unfortunately, they won't help you. There may be something that lets you get that house through that they're not aware of, and that's up to 10. So it's not ideal. So sometimes you do have to educate the planners, which is where we that's our speciality, if you like. We know the outside of the rule book, and we will throw it at them, and we will win, and we will beat them down. And it does often come to the case where they will hold their hands up and go, okay, I didn't know that, which is a little bit embarrassing when they are the people that are meant to be imposing the rules. But
I think that's quite rare, actually. I've never seen a planner admitting they're wrong. Not that we don't like planners. Nudge, wink, and if any planners are listening, anyway, someone's got to do the job. I don't know where they find the people, but
that's for sure.
Yeah, I think they're next to parking ticket guys. They're just the next lot of. Anyway, sorry, going off topic. I'm going to get in trouble there. So did you just say that it's the bigger 12 plus means a senior planner, and that's a good thing?
Yes, if you get a senior officer, they have to have so many years experience, and they tend to be a lot more switched on, to the point where it kind of raises why you need a planning consultant. I mean, they are good, they are very helpful, but a senior officer should know the rule book. A junior officer, not so much. So that could be where, you know, a specialist architect or a consultant may know a particular rule that the plan officer doesn't know about. So it's just finding that one policy that gets your house through. They may not know it. So you are better off sometimes on bigger projects, but it shouldn't really make any difference.
Or in the case you just spoke about, your 160 houses through.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been on the same simple policy. You know, a senior officer will know that policy. I mean, the good thing about a senior one is they know when and when not to argue. So that's sort of the main benefit.
Well, from my experience of planners, sometimes even knowing the policy, they'll try it on because they're in a no-lose scenario sometimes. And, you know, some people who may not have had as much experience of the planning.
There's ways to scare them.
Okay.
I mean, we know a few tricks to scare them a little bit and make sure they do what they should do. I mean, their ultimate fear is going to appeal and be made look silly. And just always remember that is a weapon you can use against them. They don't like appeals and they don't like losing and making themselves look silly.
Yeah. Look, I unfortunately, I've had too many run-ins with planners, more than I'd like to go back into. I am a bit shell-shocked at your presentation. I'm going to be really truthful. It's something that you've completely caught me off guard, and I usually know what's going on in some elements of planning. Surinder, have you got any questions or comments?
Yes. Can we apply this self-build to, demolish a house and rebuild one?
So if you was to demolish a house, you can in terms of scale. So if you demolish, like the example I gave at the start, which was a small 2-bed bungalow, and we replaced with a 700 square meter house with spas and swimming pools and all those sort of things, that's where the self-build would come in, because you're trying to justify the scale. In terms of a replacement structure, they can't, or they shouldn't say no. So you can knock a building down and replace it, and they shouldn't be able to stop that.
The case you referred to was in the countryside. What about in, say, an ordinary normal street? Would they restrict you to?
If the building was there to start with, and there is a building there at the end, it's all the same in terms of planning. The only question would be is, are you damaging another building in the process? So terrace obviously becomes a little bit of an issue.
No, well, say a detached house with land.
If it's detached,
and you're not
on a street, demolish it, rebuild it. There should be no grounds to stop you doing that.
But can you increase the footprint of it or not?
Yeah, fine.
No
reason to stop you making a house bigger. The main thing that they will get is possibly don't go too much taller. I mean, you can go taller, but not horrifically taller. In terms of deeper, no, there's nothing really there to stop you from doing that.
Just the light access for the other houses next door.
Well, there is actually no right to light in the UK. It's one of them sort of claims.
So what is this 45-degree angle rule?
Yeah, I mean, what they'll try and claim is the house has a right to light. Actually, there isn't really a right to light in the UK. It works slightly different with tower blocks in that you can't put a massive tower block next to a house, but it's not so much a right to light, it's more of an overdevelopment policy. But they will try and throw that at you sometimes, that, you know, actually you're blocking too much daylight from next door. There's not a concrete policy to support that. You can argue it.
Well, can you succeed in that argument, or would you have to?
Yeah, we've done it multiple times. So sometimes you do have to negotiate with them and maybe tweak a little bit, but there is no real policy to stop you from doing that. The one thing they will ask you not to do is to block daylight for like a primary room. So lounge, for example, it would ask you not to do that. If you're blocking light for a bathroom or hallway or bedroom, there's no policy to stop you from doing that. That's fine.
Okay.
So Ashley,
It's more of a request. That's the important thing. It's a request, not a demand. They will request you don't block light. It's very hard for them to demand it.
So the 50% rule of curtilage will not apply if you have a new build, soft build.
Yeah, you can't overdevelop the site. There is limits on that, but it's a lot more complicated than that, because you can build and then extend it and then extend it again, and there are ways around it, that rule. The rule is actually you must have 50% amenity space. So that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be ground space. It could be roof terrace, roof gardens, something to off. As long as they've got somewhere to go outside and have a barbecue, basically, that is kind of where they're getting at. It doesn't have to be garden space.
Okay.
You probably see it quite often in London, where they build a first floor level and then put a roof garden on top, and that would tick that box.
But but if you put a roof garden, won't the neighbors object for being overseen?
Again, you can get around it. You can put hedging around the side. You can make sure that the direction that you're looking at is no different from, say, a bedroom window. There are ways around it. It does make it a little bit more complicated. You can't obviously have a balcony looking straight into next door's garden, but you can still get around it. There are ways around it.
So I'm getting really interested in this, because we started with bathrooms and now we're going into hedges. Fascinating. Sorry, Surinder, any more questions?
No, that's fine. That's quite
Interesting.
enlightening.
Yeah.
Enlightening.
Talking about enlightening. So what's this? You said there's no right of light. So what's this easement that I hear of with? It's a law of easement, the right of light. Is that something?
They'll try and push that there is a right to light. There isn't actually a rule to say that. Well, there is. You can't overcrowd a building or overdevelop a site. So things like a tower block, hitting that next to a 3-story house is going to completely put it in shadow, and that's just going to be unfair. But it's more of a development issue than actually a right to light. So if you're extending a house, so you're making it deeper, and you're going to potentially put the next garden in shadow, well, that's not enough to stop you. There needs to be something else as well. You can't just use that sole argument, because you could argue that any development ever is going to put something in shadow. So there needs to be more than that. They will try and push the right to light, but it's not grounds for refusal.
Yeah. So from my understanding, the planning right of light is a different understanding of the law of easement, which is right of light, and the law of easement is something to do with 800 or 900 millimeters off the ground. They come and take all these measurements. You can still build, but you have to compensate the owners for the loss of value. So that's something different, and it's
that's more of a legal issue. Yeah, that's a legal issue. If you can get it for, but yes, that would play part. You may have to compensate them for their loss.
Yeah. So
you say that's a legal issue, but would that stop the planning?
No.
Planners don't care about legal issues whatsoever. No interest.
Okay.
So I think the way it's looking is you get your planning, you do the build, and then you fight the lawyers for the legal issue and pay them the compensation, and you can get insurance policy. It's literally a specialist subject in its own domain. It's like you have specialist surveyors that do that stuff. They work out the loss of sunlight, and you have to do compensations, and it's really complex. But I guess what you're saying, Ashley, is it's not the one that the planners throw at you, because they've created their own sort of version of it.
They're coming from a completely different perspective. They don't care about the legal elements. I mean, to be honest, once the plan permission's in place, well, just because you've got plan permission doesn't actually mean legally you can build it. It's past their policies. You should be able to build it, but not always. They don't necessarily care about land ownership legal right, any of that side of things, they don't care.
Yeah, so very, very interesting point you've just brought out. Just because, and it's the one I get a question a lot on in terms of party walls. Yes, but I've got planning. You've just ticked the planning box. There's a whole bunch of pre and post hurdles. Just because
a mistake we see quite often is people getting plan permission for something that doesn't pass building control or building regulations. Because they also don't care about the building control side of things. So yes, you can get approval for it. Doesn't mean building control let you build it. So you do need to consider both at the start. And the most common example I would know of that is fire escape windows. Planners don't care about fire escape windows. Obviously, building control do.
Really?
Those things can be worked out on talking to the building control, aren't they?
Well, they should be, but if you've then got to put a window and it isn't in your plan application, you then have to go back into planning, which starts the whole process again. So that is the biggest one we see is people put bedrooms in with no escape windows.
Does it start the planning again, or my understanding was once you've got the planning, they can't take it away from you?
They can't, but you can't build what you've got planning for. So you've still got to go back in to get it corrected.
Yeah, to get just the correction done rather than everything else.
Yeah, it won't necessarily be the full period of time, but it may not necessarily be very quick. You still could be talking 12, 16 weeks just to get that one window signed off, and they may still say no. They don't have to say yes to it.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't that be seen as an amendment or is that the word, the amendment, planning amendment?
Yeah, class as a non-material amendment. The big issue is they don't have to say yes. If they don't want you to have that window, you kind of got to redesign it, and that's where the time will be. So yeah, you need to make sure you get your building control passed, or at least considered at the same time. Don't just leave that as a separate issue, because you could be back into planning all over again.
So basically, you could end up getting planning, do all the party wall, do all the structural calc, start the build the damn thing, but building control won't sign it off.
Yeah, and then you're stuck with a building that you can't sell.
You can't sell, mortgage, or do anything with. It's super. I don't think people actually realise that it could potentially work like that. And just to cover another subject, you can get planning, but the ground conditions or what's under the ground may make it impossible or infeasible for you to build what you've got planning.
Yeah, they are addressing that. So now with anything over 10 houses, you do have to do ground testing. It's more to do with flooding than actual structural loading, but you do have to cover a part of it now as part of anything over 10. Mainly because people have had this issue. They've got permission for housing, they just cannot build, which is not good, obviously.
And what are some of the reasons for that?
So the most common reasons are, well, they are removing this one, but flooding. So you've got permission for houses that you can't build because the site just floods. So they are removing that. You now do have to do flood risk assessments. But the main other one will be your building regs. You can't get it signed off. So for a big development, for example, that could be something as simple as a fire truck. Can you get a fire truck in, turn around and put your fire out? The answer is no. It don't matter if you've got planning permission or not, you ain't building it without approval. So make sure you can get your fire trucks in.
Sorry, what was the fire truck one? Because that's interesting. I just saw a fire truck this afternoon running down the street. So
you need to be able to get a fire truck within 30 to 40 meters of the house. So if you've got a development, say it's a backyard development, and it's quite far set back from the road, the fire truck needs to be able to get down there, turn around and come back out. And what we see a lot of is people get permission for a house that's quite tight, comes for building control sign off, and they can't get the fire truck in. So they won't actually sign it off on those grounds. So that's something to be mindful of, that can you actually get emergency vehicles to the house?
Right. Yeah. Okay, going back to the small bungalow being extended into a big 7-bedroom, whatever.
Yes.
Does that apply in the green belt as well?
Anywhere. If there's a property there already, it doesn't matter. Anywhere, literally anywhere.
Right. And going away from Surinder's mansion to a potentially tiny house that I would do, did you say you can do them as, I guess not as small as you like, but quite smaller ones? Is there a minimum size limit?
Well, there's minimum sizing for housing, which is set by the minimum space standards. In terms of self-build, no, they can be, providing they're within the minimum requirements, that's fine. There is, I think there's one over in Liverpool, I believe, where so they're rentals. So you can do self-build even though they're classed as rentals, which is a little bit odd. So they can be leased out, and they were all tiny sort of 1-2 bed studio apartments, and that was fun.
So literally 37 square meters and above sort of scenario.
Yeah, there's no minimum size on them.
Wow, interesting. Well, Ashley, look, I think Surinder's speechless. He's going to have a lie down now by the looks of it. I'm flabbergasted. So you've brought some really interesting, fantastic content. Look, if you've just listened to what I've just listened to, and you need, I'm going to say you need the impossible done, please contact Ashley. There's his details. We'll put them in. Surinder, can we arrange to put them in our stuff that goes underneath our Facebook and YouTube?
Yep, no problem.
What I'm saying is, if you've had land where you've got refusal in the past, and you just send it to us, we'll have a look. I mean, we don't charge to have an initial look at something, and if we think that there is a way of getting it through, we're open to risk shares. You know, we work with you to get it through.
Okay.
But yeah, we do get a lot where they've been refused by the planners, and you've worked with different architects, and we've got them through.
Brilliant. So not only will you have a look at it, I don't know if you're going to get very busy, you might have to start charging because you might have capacity. But you're open to doing joint ventures and risk shares.
Yeah, we do joint ventures. We do risk shares. In some situations, we'll pay for all of it. Under them circumstances, we just ask for an uplift, and we take a percentage of the uplift.
Bloody hell, that's even better than free. you pay for it and take your money afterwards. You know, talk about no win, no gain, no win, no pay. Oh, fantastic. Surinder, have you speechless yet on that one?
Oh, well, I am speechless. I'll have a word with Ashley tomorrow, if possible.
There you go, Ashley. That's your first recommendation already in line, mate.
That works for us, yeah, that's good.
Brilliant. I might get you a second one as well. So look, guys, folks, thank you for joining us. Ashley, superb knowledge share is the least I'm going to say. That's some really interesting materials. It's been really great to have you on this show. I guess when the Prime Minister digs it up from Peppa Pig World and gets this law actually signed, will you come back and do another run through and give us more details on some of this superb stuff you're doing?
As soon as it's live, I mean, we'll probably have a stockpile of them ready to go. That's what we're saying to a lot of people is, you know, have it ready, because as soon as you start pumping through, they're going to find people at the moment it's very broad. I mean, you can, like I say, you can pip anything you like through. They are going to change them, and they're going to start to cap it.
Sure.
Yeah. Planners find a way of ruining everything. Managing, I don't even know what the term is. They just ruin everything, basically. Either them or the developers or the rest of the world. But anyway, look, it's good to be off to the races quick. Thank you for that brilliant share. I mean, look, I've been doing this for a while, and that's one of the most interesting ones I've seen so far. I think Surinder will agree with me. It's one of the most interesting.
Certainly, yeah.
As Ashley said, I mean, what else can you ask for? Don't delay. Get in touch with this man absolutely today. He's already got a queue forming. Let's get it done before the planners mess this up. Sorry?
Yeah, definitely. Don't wait around, because you will miss the boat. They will ruin it.
Yeah, don't wait. The man he said it. He knows them. He probably goes out to golf with most of them, because I won't ask you to declare that. But look, he knows this game backwards. From what I've previous interview, he's always sharing astounding stuff. Look, get in contact with Ashley. He's the man. Ashley, thank you for coming on and sharing this real pearls of wisdom. Amazing. And please come back on as soon as this is live. I know you'll have a busy queue forming, saying, you know, building all these superb developments. But please come back on our show. We want to hear how this is getting through. And I guess the beauty of all this is it's all housing, needed housing for all the people that are short of it at the moment.
they're pushing it hard. I mean, really hard. And the beauty of them trying to push it so hard is they're not having enough time to consider stuff. So they're just being really vague with what they're putting through, which is brilliant from a developer perspective because they're not putting restrictions on anything.
Mm.
So whether you're a developer or you're building a tiny home for your caravan, well, instead of your caravan, as we see, get in touch with Ashley. He's the man. Surinder, do we know who we got lined up for next week, or is that a secret still?
That's a very big secret.
Right. Okay. So that's a secret. We can't tell you who we got next week. But man, did we bring in a good one this week? So Ashley, brilliant. We're gonna have you back on the show. Join us next week for more fun and games and more secrets to be revealed. Sorry, any comments from Ashley or Surinder?
Well, just to thank Ashley for coming along at a very, very short notice. Thank you very much indeed.
No problem at all. Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, more than 4 hours notice next time would be appreciative.
we'll look, Ashley, just to level up with everyone. We did have a speaker, but the chap had to drop out. So it's double thanks to Ashley, actually. Brilliant. No, thank you for stepping in. And more so for sharing that amazing content. What can I say? It's just, it's got me gobsmacked. I'm going to have to watch the recording a couple of times now. Actually, brilliant. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. And we'll definitely be in touch. I promise you.
No problem. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Dale.
And to all our regulars, we'll see you next week. Don't miss it. We're going to bring you some more fantastic stuff. I mean, this show keeps getting better each week. I'm going to have a lie down now. So I'm going to have to go and get more 50p's. I think they're running out there at the bank. Right, folks, that's enough. We're going to have to go and do some other work now. We'll see you guys next week, Thursday, 5 p.m. as always.
Okay, thanks. Bye.